Hello, everybody. This is a follow-up to the video that I did yesterday sharing that awful, egregious nastiness of a clip of all these Democrats, Mark Kelly, Slotkin, and a bunch of no-namers who literally advocated to military members of the United States of America to defy and disobey orders from their commander-in-chief. If this isn't an insurrection, if this isn't acts of treason, acts of sedition under the Insurrection Act, I don't know what is. Well, in today's video, I'm going to share with you that these Democrats actually doubled down. And I'm sharing one specific interview that Martha MacCallum did. She did such an excellent job because to me, it's just emblematic to how foul, how empty, how nebulous, how zero conviction this entire cabal, this cult called the Democrats is. Wait till you hear this nasally, pencil-pushing admin from hell, spineless, feckless scum of the earth, Representative Jason Grow, the Democrat, try to talk over Martha MacCallum and actually double down on him inciting and advocating for mutiny, for treason. And then come on back because this video is going to end on a high note. It's really fantastic. Wait till you see Stephen Miller nuking this entire treasonous, insurrectious fomenting and launching cabal cult to their faces. It is absolute creme de la creme. You don't want to miss it. Make sure you come on back. But first,
this is the quote: refuse illegal orders. That's the message from a handful of powerful Democrats, all with military or intelligence backgrounds, who want service members to know their rights, they say, when it comes to strikes that they deem unlawful. You see some of the pushback to this video when some look at it and say, you know, if you are in the United States military, you sign up, you carry out the mission that is assigned to you. You know, the other option is to not join the military or to leave if you feel that you can't carry out an order. But the command is just an integral part of what you sign up for, which you know way better than I do, and I thank you for your service. So, Congressman, thank you for being here. Why did you participate in this video?
Martha, we're standing by our troops, our service members who are often put in very difficult positions, and Donald Trump has put them in very difficult positions and has alluded to putting them in even more difficult positions in the months and years ahead. So we are reminding folks about what the Uniform Code of Military Justice says, what the Constitution says, what the law of war says. You know, this is really no different than what I did with my infantry platoon in advance of deploying to Iraq in 2003. I trained these young soldiers on their obligation to comply with the law of war, to comply with the Constitution, and what is a lawful versus a unlawful order.
What law are you talking about that's being broken? And then you said that he's implying that he might do something that they wouldn't want to uphold or follow through with in the future. What are you talking about specifically?
okay, just real quick. I apologize. I'm going to get back to the video in a second, but no, I'm sorry. When you have a voice like that is, well, Martha, this is what nasally, weaselly, snarly, ratty, guttural, feckless, spineless, soulless, you are the pencil-pushing admin from hell. That is the most grotesque, uninspiring, emasculated voice I think I've ever heard, period. Well, Martha, what you're going to do is Are you kidding me right now? I'm going to trust you? Are you kidding me right now? I'm going to be inspired by you? You're going to pass judgment on this commander-in-chief who wanted a mandate, who's elected by the people, of the people, for the people? And you're going to defy that with that voice? I'm sorry, I had to jump in here. Let's get back. Let me know. That voice just, let me know.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking. Well, number one, the protests at Lafayette Square in the first Trump administration where he said, can't you just shoot them? Can't you just shoot them in the legs or something? That's his direct quote. And of course, the then chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
That was not a military order. That was a comment. That's not a military order.
When that's coming from the President of the United States to your generals, don't you think that's a request? That's
I'm
a question?
asking specifically
right
now what you're talking about.
Yeah, number two, he's also threatened to send the military into Chicago and other cities to, quote, go to war with those cities, right? That is a very, very disturbing thing. Number three, he's also alluded to sending troops.
No, he's not. He's not going to war. This is such blatant propagandist, pure sewage spewing lies right here. No, he's making. I saw another post from this ridiculous Padilla guy from my home state, California, saying the same thing. He's going to war with Americans. He's taking military into cities because you guys won't do your job. You guys won't do your job and get rid of the people who you imported, who are illegal, who are criminal, who are committing mortal harm to American citizens. There isn't one American citizen watching this video right now who walks down the streets fearing for their lives that masked men are going to sweep them away in masked vehicles, including me. I said this in my video yesterday. This is a blatant lie. For him to say, this is a representative in Congress saying he's going to war with American cities. That is, I mean, people are going to take that seriously. This is the same kind of such twisted, gnarled lie fabrication that pollutes the brains of these impressionable, mostly furry-loving transgenders for some reason, psychopath lunatics who carry out violence against people like Charlie Kirk. It's absurd. Sorry, I had to interrupt there.
To polling stations, which is actually a violation of U.S. law. U.S. criminal law prohibits troops from going to polling stations, and he's alluded to that. So those are just one of many examples.
You're talking about
Donald Trump
illusions. You're not
recently
talking about actual policy. You're not talking about things that are members of our service members who we revere and respect are actually being asked to do. So when you see this video on all over the place, when you see this video on social media, I think a lot of people scratch their heads and they say, what exactly are they talking about? Are they talking about
Martha,
not allowing gunboats to make it to the United States carrying drugs?
No.
Is that what you're talking about?
Martha, here's a novel idea. How about we actually prevent things from happening before they become a problem?
I think that's what they're trying to do.
What you're saying is we have to wait until there's a problem to respond to that problem.
No, I'm not.
Right? As a military officer, what I think is important is we train people, we give them information, we prepare people for challenges coming down the pike. That is what I did as a commander in the military. That's what I'm doing now, as we are standing by our troops. We are reminding them of their obligation.
Order from the commander-in-chief that we are asking our military to carry out, are you objecting to? This is very, very vague. And it was so vague in this video. I don't think people could figure out what you guys were all talking about, honestly.
Martha, Donald Trump has made a series of very disturbing comments and suggestions that would violate U.S. law and put our military in terrible positions.
Again, we're getting nowhere because you're not talking about an order.
I don't want to wait until that happens to remind our troops of their obligation, because then it'll be too late. We are standing by our troops and our amazing men and women in uniform to remind them
who sign up every day as you did to carry out the orders of the commander-in-chief. We are not engaged in new wars. We have no troops on the ground in Ukraine except some who were training pilot missions, not on any front lines of any kind. In the Caribbean right now, we've sent a carrier there. I thought these were the specific operations that are actually happening that you might be referring to. But we've created a huge presence in the Caribbean to stop fentanyl deaths, of which there were more than 48,000 plus in the last year alone. And the president doesn't want those drugs to make it to the United States. But you're not talking about any of these actual actions that have been carried out by the commander-in-chief and by the Department of Defense?
First of all, that is a separate issue. We are not talking about Venezuela at all.
No, it's actually not a separate issue. It's actually directly related, which is why she's bringing it up. This is just more examples of duplicitous, sneaky, snake drivel, sewage gutter behavior by Democrats who still are. I mean, this is like, these guys have somebody mentioned online that this is stage 4 TD. I think it was Pete Hegseth, as a matter of fact, on X, posted saying this is stage 4. This is terminal, not stage 4 TDS, Pete. This is a terminal case of TDS. They are more concerned about us deporting their voters because they may actually have to compete in the free market, free enterprise. They're more concerned about them losing their seats. Think about this, America. than the safety of you, me, and our loved ones and families who are hardworking, tax-paying, and law-abiding actual American citizens. That's the bottom line here. Point, period, blank, full stop. I can't wait to get your thoughts. Oh, I can't. And by the way, Stephen Miller, Caroline Levitt, The White, they all watch this show. Let them know what you think in the comments down below. And speaking of Stephen Miller, woo, do I love this dude right here. Because he's like my brother from another mother. And he speaks my language, as I know you guys love him too. Listen to Stephen absolutely nuke this entire swamp vermin. Watch.
It is insurrection, plainly, directly, without question. And when you have one of the lawmakers on that video being unable to state in, as you say, lengthy cross-examination, a single so-called illegal order, it just proves the point. It's a general call for rebellion from the CIA and the armed services of the United States by Democrat lawmakers, saying that you have not only the right but the duty and the obligation to defy orders of the commander-in-chief, that those who carry weapons in America's name should defy their chain of command and engage in open acts of insurrection, that the CIA, the clandestine service, which isn't even legally authorized to operate in the United States, should engage in, again, acts of rebellion and insurrection. These lawmakers should honestly resign in disgrace and never return to public office again for even daring to think, let alone to say these words and to say them proudly. But it shows what a dangerous moment we're in. We have seen the Democratic Party nurse the flames of violence and insurrection against the federal government for the last 10 months. When you see this continuous campaign of violence against ICE officers and Border Patrol agents, when you see Democrat sanctuary politicians and Democrat sanctuary governors side with the rioters, side with the assaulters over federal law enforcement, and that spills even into juries and grand juries, when you see Democrat jurors engage in nullification to let off violent attackers who are engaging in physical violence, physical assault against federal officers. This is a dangerous moment. You have a political party, an organization, the Democrat Party, and their message is that any action, no matter how unlawful, no matter how dangerous, no matter how much it threatens constitutional order, is justified if it keeps Democrat policies in effect at any cost. Stack the Supreme Court, appoint 10 radical loyalists, and destroy our entire constitutional order forever. In other words, they don't believe in systems, they don't believe in rules, they don't believe in laws. They believe in whatever keeps them in power. And if what they think keeps them in power is a military insurrection or a CIA insurrection, that's what they support. But if in a different setting, if say a soldier doesn't want to take the COVID vaccine, then they represent a threat to order in their view, and that person must be crushed and deprived of employment, deprived of opportunity. If a Democrat, for example, complains about election integrity, that person's a hero. If a Republican complains of election integrity, that person's to be jailed and incarcerated for life. This is the moment that we're in. This is what we're dealing with. So when we say that Democrats are communists, we don't just mean that, well, they believe in the state control of property. We mean they've adopted a method of thinking in which any use of force is justified for their end state of power and control. So they become a third world party, and we have to internalize that. We're not dealing with the old Democratic Party, we're dealing with a third world party.
It's so refreshing to hear somebody tell it like it is without all the BS political grandstanding and nomenclature that's empty and hollow. Stephen Miller actually got me thinking about something there when he was talking about this soldier and the vaccine, showing vaccine proof and how that gets them all in an uproar. Democrats were all for showing proof of vaccination in order to travel, in order to board a plane. But yet, they don't want voter ID for one of the most consequential civic duties and decisions an American citizen can make. Things that make you go, gee, I wonder why. I think you know why, and I know why. That's why you're here. Free poll. I just want to hear from you guys before we wrap this up here. Maybe I'm wrong, because I always like to sort of, buffer everything by, hey, I'm not the absolute. I'm happy to be wrong. Maybe I missed something. Free poll in the comments down below. Do you think that these Democrats were actually inciting members of the armed forces to disobey President Trump, the commander-in-chief, the duly elected president of the United States of America? Or do you think that, like nasal boy over there, Grow, do you think that they were just trying to reach out to their military and say, hey, I'm with you, brother, and I get it, and I'm trying to encourage you to not obey illegal orders, whatever the hell that means? So in the comments down below, type in insurrection for if you believe what I believe, which is that's what they were doing, or was it just brotherhood? Type in either brotherhood for, let's just say Team Democrat, and insurrection for Team Practicality and Truth and Making Common Sense Go Viral. Type that in the comments down below, or any other context you wish to add. Please tap that thumbs up. It only takes you a second. Share. Watch this video all the way to the end. Share it with everybody that you know. It helps us out immeasurably. Our mission here is to make common sense go viral, and you can help us out. It takes you less than a nanosecond. Tap the thumbs up. Don't forget to check out these videos coming up on the screen right here, just in case you missed them. Tap my face right here to subscribe and follow. It's absolutely free. And as always, may God bless you, and may God bless the USA and all who defend her. I'll see you soon.